Welcome to a Nosebleed Perspective, where on today's show we have an absolute legend, Weapons Troop. If you've ever worked with this man, you know he's one of the best in the business. He also hosted an MPOY in his small two-bedroom apartment that was maybe 700 square feet with 50 people in it. We handed out awards, everything in there. And he only had to toss one person out for about ripping his TV off the wall, so it was a good night. His wife found out later on, and she's still with him today. So for that, you deserve a round of applause in itself. He's a diehard Ravens, LSU, Lakers, and Orioles fan. Please welcome to the show one of my absolute best friends, Dion Smith.
Attaboy, Dion. Welcome to the
Welcome, Dion.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, yeah, man. Welcome to the show. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off with NBA. It just started back up. Unfortunately, you are one of my friends, but you're a Lakers fan, and I guess we got to talk about that. With LeBron being with the Lakers, so either the Lakers or LeBron, like the pressure is always win a championship or bust. Like that's the only expectation. So with them combined, it's obviously double that. So do you think they can win it all? And if they don't win it all, is it a loss for the season?
I think they can win it all, definitely. And I think that this year they're kind of just fucked with the expectations because, you know, with Kobe passing, like everybody, like this is like a redemption type season. Like everybody's expecting them to win.
Yeah.
To like, you know, contribute this season to Kobe. So like I think they have like added pressure, you know, because like Kobe was like a huge legend to everybody in LA. Not just LA, but everybody in sports, really. Everybody had like so much respect and love for him. So I hope they can, you know, answer the call. It would definitely be nice because, you know, we kind of went through a little struggle bus there for a couple years as a Lakers fan.
Yeah, you all did.
Yeah.
You got sucked for a few seasons there.
It was ugly.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely did. It was just
the Clippers were the better team, which is weird to say.
Did you get a chance to watch them last night?
No, I didn't.
That night shift schedule was rough.
I'm on mids, and you know we don't have that good old AFN in the States. So.
That free AFN is nice for sure.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, they looked okay. It was, you know, first game, and it was a little sloppy. Obviously, they played, you know, the second best team in the West with the Clippers. You know, LeBron did his thing near the end when he had to, and they looked okay. It's kind of hard. They played the Clippers, and the Clippers were missing Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams, and it still went down to the final buzzer. So, you know, the other team in LA might be a challenge down the road in the Western Conference.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't think by any means it's going to be just like an easy take from. I mean, they're going to definitely have to work for it. And I think they still definitely kind of are missing some chemistry that you normally would have, you know, had you played like, you know, a normal 82-game season. So they're definitely going to run into those type of issues. But I'm pretty sure like LeBron and AD can iron it out and get things straight since the actual season's starting.
Yeah, for sure. I can't root for the Lakers, man, but I hope you all the happiness in all your other sports. If there is college football this year, what is your expectations for LSU? I mean, your team just won a championship, so like for me, the Chiefs, like I don't really care what happens for the next 20 years, but they pretty much lost everyone. Like everyone on that team is gone. Their smart offensive coordinator, I know they kind of have an old man who's technically the offensive coordinator, but that young guy was really the guy calling the shots. So what is your expectations for them this year? Is there any players we should like watch out for that really didn't play last year or still on the team?
My expectations for them this year is, I mean, I really don't have any expectations. Like, how can you compete with, you know, what they did last year? You know, they had like, 12 or 16 players get drafted.
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, including we picked up Patrick Queen
Yep.
to fill that middle linebacker hole on the Ravens. So, I mean, I don't know. Just go out there and have fun. That's kind of like my expectations. Just hopefully they play. I know they dropped some news the other day talking about the SEC is doing a 10-game season, like in-house, just within the conference. Yep. So I think that would be cool to see. I think that they'll definitely play. I think it's too much money invested, too much money for them to make or miss out on. So I think they'll definitely like figure out some shit for them to play. I mean, they'll probably end up emulating whatever the NFL is doing as far as like like the NBA doing like their little bubble type thing. But I'm interested to see how that works with the NFL, just because guys are like literally getting tackled and bleeding on top of each other. So it's like I don't really see how it's going to work, but I hope it works.
For sure.
Yeah, us too, man.
Just want college football back, however it is. That's all I got, Cheech.
All right. So you talked about Patrick Queen. So I'm going to talk about the Ravens defense and their overall team outside their okay quarterback that they have. Their defense looks pretty. It's stout. It's pretty deep. But they've got $6.4 million cap space still going into the season. Is there any holes that you'd want to fill, or do you think that this is the 2021 Super Bowl champion Ravens team?
So let's take a flashback to last year when we were playing the Titans and just got fucking mollywopped by fucking Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I don't think any Ravens fan was expecting that. I think we were all expecting that game. Like, we all chalked that game up as a dub. Like, we were going to go play the Chiefs. Like, I was already talking shit to Gibby. Like, so I would like to see them go out and get a veteran receiver. Like, I know there was speculation of them picking up Antonio Brown, but last year we also got just destroyed in our passing offense. Like, it was just terrible in that game. Like, I remember on maybe like 12 or 15 plays, like Lamar was like hitting dudes in the chest with the ball and they were just dropping it. Like, Willie Snead was just dropping passes.
There was a lot of drops. I will defend him in there.
Yeah, Miles Boykin was just dropping passes. Like, I know everybody's like, talk shit about Lamar not being like the greatest thrower. And I think he's definitely worked on that and advertised that. Like, the Ravens did a good job of advertising him practicing during the offseason. And I know for a fact, like, it was a lot of him, Hollywood, and AB practicing throughout the summer, because like I followed those guys on Instagram and stuff like that. And there was some speculation of them getting them. So, I mean, I think that would be nice. Like, I think for the longest, like, we haven't had a great wide receiver. I think the best wide receiver that we had that I could think of off the top of my head is like Anquan Bolden. And then we traded him to San Francisco.
Yep.
The year after we won the Super Bowl with them. Like, we just got rid of like the whole team that we won the Super Bowl with.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been about that defense for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is always going to be there. Like, that's what Baltimore is known for. So, I mean, I think as a Ravens fan, you kind of just expect the defense to be good. It's like when people are like, "Oh man, your defense is good," I'm just like, okay, like,
that's the norm.
Normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's normal.
I mean, it would be crazy if AB went there. His cousin Hollywood Brown right there. So maybe that's something that's attractive to him. So it would definitely open up the defense, and it would be
definitely
dangerous with Hollywood and AB with that running game. Oof, that would be tough to defend for sure. So
that would change my AFC North prediction. I think that's what it would take for the Browns to not win the AFC North.
Lamar has to throw the ball to someone other than Mark Andrews. That's like point blank. Like, everybody knows it. Everybody knows when the Ravens get on offense, we're either doing the option, we're either running option, we're throwing to Mark Andrews, or Lamar is just going to make some magic happen. So it's like you got to switch it up. It's not like college when he was playing for Louisville where you could kind of just go out there and, do whatever you want to do. Like, teams are literally studying film and trying to, predict your habits and stuff like that. So we kind of got to switch it up and not be so predictable.
Yeah, and
I will say our offense is pretty predictable.
Oh, for sure. But he's hard to – I mean, people have been studying Lamar. You said that. But they've been studying him for years now. And it just seems like he goes out there and he makes some crazy shit happen. Yeah, he has some accuracy issues outside the numbers. But, he's just a baller. So they did lose Hayden Hurst, which I thought was a big loss for them because they do run a lot of those packages where there's 3 tight ends with Nick Boyle. So we'll see if Mark Andrews is – as productive without Hayden Hurst out there too. So
I think we had to get rid of Hayden Hurst to clear up some cap space to acquire like Calais Campbell and some other guys. So we'll see how it works.
You all lost. What was it Michael Pierce? That was big. Dude was a beast.
Yeah,
Dude was a monster. So
And I don't know what – I was really surprised that we picked up another running back. Like, what do we have, like, fucking 10 running backs? Like, I was just like, okay.
They're all good, too, so that was shocking.
Yeah, that was definitely a surprise. I was definitely thinking, like, everybody knows, like, hey, like, we have receiver issues. Let's go out and get, like, a shit ton of receivers. And hopefully, win the lottery with one of these guys. But that's
they were
what
just
I
waiting for
want.
AB. That's it. They're just waiting for AB.
Yeah, hopefully they get him.
Yeah, they had that inside connection in the family, so maybe they just knew the whole time. So
yeah,
it all depends on the commissioner. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, so I'm going to transition over to baseball real quick. Obviously, Yankees fan, you're an Orioles fan. So Orioles, their over/under for the season is 20.5, which at first for baseball sounds really pathetic, but everybody keep in mind they're only playing 60 games this year, so it's a 33% win percentage, which is exactly what they had last year. What's going on in Baltimore with the Orioles? How do they get better? Or is this just a team that is never – I mean, I know like 5 years ago or so they were a solid team, but I don't know what it takes for the Orioles to get good again.
So I grew up playing like a lot of baseball. Like baseball is like my primary sport. And like baseball is kind of like one of those sports where you can't hide any holes. Like if you're playing basketball and you can't dribble, like, you just be a spot up shooter. Like they just won't pass you the ball. They can kind of like hide you with that 5-man team. And baseball is not one of those sports. And I think it also kind of just boils down to just creating like a winning culture. When you've been sucking, like the Orioles have sucked since I was a little kid. So when you've been sucking for like generations, like it's kind of hard to break that mentality. I know like just recently, like for the 2020 season, we went out and we drafted a lot of good guys, a lot of young guys. And I mean, this rebuild has just been one of those rebuilds that it seems like it's never going to end. Like I've been waiting for the Orioles to be good for forever, pretty much. Yeah. I kind of got to stick to them since I got like a big ass Orioles tattoo on my arm, so can't even switch up teams. But
yeah, that's a marriage.
yeah, we're in it for life. So hopefully things are a lot better this season. Yeah, because I mean I literally stopped watching baseball for like a couple of years. It's pretty pathetic.
Hey, I mean, you're not alone. A lot of people who are big baseball fans have stopped watching baseball for the past few years. It's tough. I've watched more baseball games in the past 3 days than I have in the past 3 years. So.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah. It's tough down there right now. I mean, I think it was like 2015 or so that the Orioles, they won the AL East. They had like 94, 95 wins, something like that. But yeah, it's just been just a downward slope since then. I mean, the only like shining star that everybody knows about the Orioles is Cal Ripken Jr. So
hopefully, like those guys.
Yeah, maybe one day the Orioles will rise up again.
Yeah,
all right, so
I think our last winning season was like 2016.
Yeah, I think it was like barely above 500 too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's head over to LSU again. So Joe Burrow, I'm not really sold on him. I think that the Bengals are going to have a trash year and he's just going to be exposed. But I want to hear your take since you probably watched him a little closer. Was Joe Burrow a product of a good system, or was LSU's performance last year a product of Joe Burrow?
It's tough.
I kind of go with both. I think he's a great player, but it's kind of easy to shine when you're in when you're in like a marginal player in like a great system like LSU had. Like they had so many weapons, for Kansas City, like it wouldn't have mattered. Like with how fast Kansas City is, it wouldn't matter who the quarterback was. I mean, not taking away before Gibby gets all butthurt. Not taking away from my homeboy, but let's say you take
Alex Smith. If Alex Smith was a quarterback still, they would have won the Super Bowl.
Ryan Tannehill.
Maybe. Their offense was just that explosive. So I think Joe Burrow kind of just got, lucky, just kind of like riding that train. I mean, he definitely performed when he needed to, So I think it'll kind of be good to see like him perform with the Bengals. But I mean, he's kind of lucky because he's kind of walking into a team that's just sucked for so long that like if they win 8 games out of the season, like everybody's gonna be happy.
Yeah, he's
like so. If they win one more game than they won last year, like people are gonna be happy. I feel like Lamar kind of had it harder because he kind of walked into a Ravens team where people were used to winning every year, or at least making it to the playoffs, and then like we kind of fell off for like maybe like 2 or 3 years. So like even I remember talking to Logsdon, like me and Gibby giving Logsdon shit because he was like, man, like they booed Lamar, like Baltimore's fucking fan base is shit. They really booed him. He's just a kid. And like me and Gibby like, no, this motherfucker makes millions to throw footballs. Like nobody cares how old he is.
Hey. He did well. I don't know if it was a hard situation. He walked into a situation where Joe Flacco threw for 27 yards during an NFL professional football game, and I think it was 27. It might be 26. Nosebleed hot take right there, but it is something right around there. So he walked into a situation where he had no other choice. Like, the expectations are definitely there with Lamar. Joe Burrow, on the other hand, yeah, I mean, you're right. He doesn't have a lot on his shoulders. So if he goes out and even if he goes and loses games left and right, but he shows potential, they're like, it's fucking Bengals, So, yeah. And he has some talent with him this year with AJ Green, Joe Mixon in the backfield, who's no joke, and Boyd on the other side with John Ross. Hopefully he can do something, but that O-line scares me. So they're going to be in a lot of bad situations where Joe Burrow has to do more than he probably should is used to it, but yeah.
The dude's just so cocky, man. Like the cigar thing, just
loved it.
That like I would be happy to see him get sacked 12 times first game of the season.
The cigar thing, that whole video they did after they won the championship was probably the most gangster thing I have ever seen in sports.
Yeah, I hope he eats 12 sacks week 1.
Jeez, what did he throw? He threw for like 60-something touchdowns last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he broke your boy's record.
Yeah, he broke the record. Crazy.
I mean, it's ridiculous. All right, so all right, we'll keep it kind of on Joe Burrow for a second. Like we kind of talked about it, but how do you think? It's like how do you think he handles being with the Bengals? Do you think he wins 2 to 4 games, or do you think he can get to that like 6 to 8 game range?
I honestly think it all depends on how their offensive line performs. Like their offensive line is pretty trash. So, as long as they can keep him up and give him, with the 3 to 4 seconds that he was used to with LSU to make stuff happen and scan the field, I think that'll be his biggest problem. It's just how fast of a game changer it is, going from college football to NFL. Like there's like, 400-pound dudes, and they're back there. They're getting back at you, quick, like 2 seconds.
Yep.
You literally have like 2 or 3 seconds to find an open receiver and make a play.
Yeah, I mean, and the Cincinnati Bengals are in a really tough division, man. With the Steelers, the Ravens, obviously, the Browns. Are going to be slightly better than what they've been in the past. So it's going to be tough for him. I mean, half the season right there is going to be games they're not going to be favored in just right away. So, be interesting. So kind of going back towards LSU a little bit, they had 13 players taken in the 2020 draft. That was the record. 13 fucking players in the NFL draft. That's ridiculous. I mean, if you think about that, that's a whole one side of the ball plus a couple guys. So, what are your thoughts on any of those guys who kind of went in the first couple rounds? Cleveon Chasen, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Queen, your boy who went to the Ravens playing linebacker, or the running back for Kansas City, especially now that, Kansas City, Damian Williams, he opted out for 2020. So he's going to have a big opportunity in front of him. Do you think any of these guys who went pretty early, what are your thoughts on any of them? Or, are they going to be booms, busts? What do you think?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. They just had like such a amazing season with LSU that I think a lot of them are going to be, walking into franchises and being expected to perform exactly like how they did in that 2019 season. And a lot of these guys, they didn't really have big names until that season. People didn't know who these guys were, until that season. And that season kind of put them on the map. So it's kind of going to be difficult, I think, for them to just step up and, perform now. Because when you get to the NFL, that's what teams are expecting. They're not expecting to, maybe 2 or 3 years, develop players. They want dudes that can go out there and, get 100 yards receiving today. So I think it'll be interesting to see, especially Justin Jefferson. He's one that I'm definitely keeping my eyes on and following, because he was just such an explosive wide receiver for LSU.
Yeah, and he was somebody I was going to mention too. He's walking into a situation which I think favors him a lot. He's got a great running back, a super average quarterback. That's okay. And somebody on the other side, and Adam Thielen, who's, balled out in the past. So he's going to have his opportunities, so we'll see. I'm interested in him. What do you think about Patrick Queen, man? You think he's going to be able to start right away in Baltimore?
I think so. From what I saw, just based off of – this is solely based off what I saw from that season, that 2019 season. I think he will. We kind of needed somebody to fill that hole that, had a little bit of speed and can still cover the ball, and I think he brings a lot of that to the table. He can still, he can rush. He can step back and play coverage if he needs to, or he can play man-to-man. So, that's kind of what we were lacking a lot. It's kind of, but in Baltimore, it's kind of, I think, a difficult spot to fill, just because every Ravens fan, when you think of middle linebacker, you think of Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
It's engraved into your head. So
yeah,
he's definitely got some big shoes to fill, stepping into the middle linebacker spot.
Yeah, for sure. And then, C.J. Mosley, not too shabby as well. So
yeah, C.J. Mosley, I'm kind of hard to get rid of him. Tough pill to swallow for sure.
I'm surprised the Jets haven't traded him away yet.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, okay, so you're a Ravens fan. We have to talk about Lamar Jackson. Obviously, we kind of touched on him a little bit with Cheech, but so he was the MVP last year. He's the Madden cover this year coming up. He's number 1 as of a couple days ago, voted in the top 100. What do you think he needs to do exactly, or to take that next step and actually, first off, win one playoff game? We did kind of talk about this, but do you think they have a chance at actually going at least to the AFC Championship game, or what are your thoughts on postseason Lamar?
Like I said earlier, he's definitely been working on his accuracy and his throwing strength. So I think that's really the next step is, if we can run the option like we've done in the past successfully, and, be able to go out and get a 50-yard play, a 60-yard play, over the top, especially with Hollywood coming back. He's going to come back, fresh. His ankle's going to be fully healed up, supposedly, this season. And he's a really fast guy to have on the outside. So I think, if we can basically kind of emulate what Kansas City has with, Tyreek and Patrick Mahomes, that would definitely open up that offense. Because right now, everybody's always expecting to run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With good reason. It's hard not to absolutely pay attention to that. So do you think they try to take your biases aside right here. Do you think that they actually win a playoff game?
I think it depends. It depends on what seed we get.
Yeah.
Right.
And the playoffs are going to be different this year. The only one team gets that bye. So
if you guys end up facing, let's just say, obviously, this is all speculative because we don't know how teams are going to finish. But we'll just say the Ravens finish number 2 in the AFC, and they end up playing against I don't know. We'll just go with the Titans. We'll go with Derrick Henry. What happens?
I think we crush them this year.
That's
what I
that.
You know the stiff arm is coming from Derrick Henry, and you know how to stop it now.
Yeah, they know it's coming. I don't know. That game was just crazy. Like, I don't think anybody in the world was expecting that. For him to just go out there and just – it was like a college kid playing against elementary school students. That's just how it looked with him running the ball. It was – I don't even know. I don't even think, like, how do you even prepare your defense for that?
You can't put anybody on the scout team hey, stiff arm this guy.
You know, like, what do you do? Go get, like, the Big Show from WWE and have him, like, practice, you know, running the ball down the middle?
That'd be fun to watch.
I mean, it was crazy to watch because he tore through the defense. Lamar had a couple I don't think he was terrible. He did have those drops. I think one of his interceptions at the beginning was, like, tipped or something. So, I mean, it just turned the tide, and they were just behind, and they just ran the ball down their throats 4 to 5 yards at a time. So it was hard to come back from that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem that we have is, like, we're so heavy on the run that, like, we can't do what, like, you know how, like, Kansas City could just go out and just score, you know, throw the ball and score. Like, we don't have that option. So a lot of the times when we're trying to score, we're just milking clock. We're running option plays. We're getting, you know, 20 yards or whatever, but we just took 30 seconds off the clock, you know, and getting those 20 yards. And it kind of makes it hard to come back in the game if you're down. I mean, pretty much the only option that we have is you just have to go out and score first and just, you know, beat teams first. But you can't really come back or make a comeback.
Yeah, for sure. So that's why it'll be interesting to see how Lamar progresses next year, if he does or if he doesn't. So I hope he does, obviously. I'll be watching him. So real quick.
There's so much hype to him with everything that you just said, like the number one, the Madden cover, the MVP. There's so much hype. He's not going to. I'm sorry. Dion.
No, I know.
I hope he does. We'll see. Definitely.
It is going to be an impossible task for him. But I think if he can even if he has a worse season statistical wise, if he can just win a playoff game to start off, because he's still super young. Yeah, he's going to be expected to do more. But if he can go out and win a playoff game and look good doing it, that's going to change the way people start to think about Lamar. You know, obviously he's not Patrick Mahomes is a different animal. He came in and was a monster, and then he won the MVP, then he won the Super Bowl. Like, it's just a different breed of humans that he is. So Lamar's not, he can't compare himself to that trajectory going forward. So next year it'll be interesting to see for sure. But
I think that's his biggest problem. A lot of people compare him to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to though with that track record, with the MVP, the Madden cover, the everything that he's done his second year, just becoming so it's gonna be tough. But all right, before we let you go, who wins the Super Bowl next year, bud?
Come on now, you know I gotta say the Ravens.
I figured as much.
Come on, you know that.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, hey, they definitely have a chance, but boy,
it's up to Lamar. It's up to if he can play in the playoffs or not.
Yeah,
yep. I would say they're going to run into the Chiefs and it's going to be hard, but they just have to start baby steps. I think they know that after the first couple of years with Lamar going to the playoffs and just getting absolutely handled the first year versus the Chargers. Phillip Rivers came into town and handled him. Like, it was so.
Worst case scenario, RG3 leads the way.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah. He skipped his potential prime with injury. He's not Lamar. So. All right, Dion, you have anything for us at all?
Shit. Actually, I didn't even get to come up with any questions I was going to, but.
Oh, you're good. I was just curious.
How do you think your Rams perform this year?
I think we have a better season than last year for sure. Last year we did win 9 games, which is not bad, but coming off a Super Bowl appearance, it looks bad. Didn't make the playoffs, so that was tough. But I think with the expansion this year with an extra team, I think we definitely can be that 5, 6, 7 seed now. But it all starts with the O-line. Our O-line is a little bit healthier, a little bit more experience. It's going to give Jared Goff hopefully a half a second more time this year, which is what he needs because he's not a Lamar. He's not anyone else. He's like the last – I've said this before. He's the last quarterback that's going to be taken that doesn't have that mobility, impact on the game, at least a little bit of it. He's just not mobile at all. So he needs that. I think he's going to get a little bit, and it's going to show. I'm a big believer in Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. So I think they can definitely take him there. The running game, the Chiefs have proved it doesn't matter really who's back there. So it's just going to depend on Jared Goff, how he performs in that O-line. I think our defense is super stout, in my opinion. We're a little weak and thin at the linebacker position, but I love our secondary. I think we have a top, maybe not top 5, but definitely top 10 secondary in the league. Our D-line is maybe not top. I'd put him up top 5. Aaron Donald creates enough space for other guys to become better than they are. We re-signed Michael Brockers, who was supposed to go to the Ravens. That fell through. Thank God it didn't. So I'm happy with getting him back. And I like our edge rushers for now enough. So I'm hopeful, but obviously
Did you guys pick up Jamal Adams too?
No, that was the Seahawks. Unfortunately,
that was the Seahawks. Oh, I'm tripping.
Yeah. That really actually hurt us a little more. But I think we'll be okay. I think we do make the playoffs this year. I think I predicted 11 wins, which was me just being biased in our show. But realistically, probably 10 wins. I'd be happy with 10 wins. I think 10 wins is doable. It's on the high side, but it's doable.
Yeah.
And we got to so we'll see. I don't know. I think the Chiefs just take it all this year, though. So.
Yeah, I think so too. Honestly, putting my biasness to the side, I think they probably will repeat. Yeah. Their team is just so explosive. Like they've already proved, like it doesn't matter if our defense sucks. Like it just doesn't matter. Like we're just gonna flat out outscore you. And then if we go down, we're just still going to outscore you. Like that Houston game last year when they played Houston, and they scored like 21 points in like what was it, like 2 or 3 minutes or whatever?
I don't know, Gibby, you were there.
Gibby was on the verge of suicide at these games. Like
at the game, so
he was nice. We were worried for him. Like knowing that Gibby was at these playoff games, we were worried for him.
I actually turned my phone off whenever I think they went up by 4 possessions, and I was like, I got to change something. I was gonna flip my jersey inside out or something. I was like, I'm just gonna turn off my phone. I'm not gonna look at it. I think I literally one time I looked at my phone, I had 22 messages from people with laughing emojis and just shit like that. So it was a rough ride, but like you all said, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has a bunch of wide receivers that are, I guess, weapons that no one else in the NFL wants. But
relax. I'm kind of scared for the Chiefs, and I do think they win the Super Bowl. I think they're the favorite for sure. But man, they put themselves, like your boy Travis said, in a lot of bad situations that could bite them in the ass in the long run in the playoffs if they face the wrong team. So that's why Patrick Mahomes
and the Ravens are that wrong team. Their secondary is too good to be doing shit like that. So if they run into the Ravens, they can't the Ravens can't fall behind with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs can't fall behind with the Ravens. Whoever gets that first 2 possession lead, the game's over.
You think? It's a good point.
Yeah, I think we kind of did everything that we could from a general manager perspective to kind of fill that Russian defense issue that we had last year. I was actually pretty surprised with our GM and how aggressive he went about, filling all those different holes that we had. Yeah, so I think defensively, I think we'll be solid.
For sure. You had a good offseason for what you lost. So, I mean, Michael Pierce leaving was a big hit, I thought. But then you signed Calais Campbell, so it's
Exactly.
Well, all right, man. We can't thank you enough for coming on the show. If you ever want to come on and talk shit to Gibby about the Chiefs or, hype up the Ravens, let us know. You can come back on. And, it's been a nosebleed perspective. Our guest Dion Smith here. So y'all take it easy, and we'll get back with you next time.